Still Brittany.
Kendall.
Hi, Mike.
And we're going to move my camera. If you're watching on YouTube, so sorry. If you're not, hi. Okay, you guys, I watched the show. I watched with love, Meghan.
All right.
All of it?
I watched an episode and a half.
And how many do we know?
There's
how many?
8.
Okay.
And they're all, you can watch them all individually. They have
Netflix?
you can watch episode 6 first. It doesn't matter. It's all on Netflix. Yeah. Meghan Markle's new show. It's a lifestyle type show, very Martha Stewart-esque of here's some recipes. Here when I'm hosting someone, here's some cute things that I do for them. Let's go out in my garden. Beekeeping. Yay. I want to lie to you really bad.
I know it's bad.
I want to lie and tell you I love it because I love them. I want to lie and tell you I even was like, this makes sense, but it doesn't.
Here's the problem. She can't say anything. She can't be herself. Like, so you're getting just pure content.
Watch it?
No, I'm saying, but with the royals in general, is you get pure content. You don't you get content without any personality.
So the problem is it's the structure of the show itself is a little dulsy. I also don't really love cooking shows. I thought I'd like this a little bit more because sometimes if you've got enough of a player with enough things and content and different spices to talk about, and I don't mean like literal spices, but things to talk about, I'm interested. Her first episode is about 45 minutes. It's with a friend of hers that's coming to visit. And we immediately open in this very small and beautifully curated kitchen. And she acknowledges, this isn't my kitchen. Immediately, I'm like, but you're Meghan Markle's. I want to see inside your kitchen.
Yeah, there's no character. I mean, it's everything I'm saying.
Show.
Yeah, is like, okay, you're not giving us anything real.
So they go into, eventually she does go into like where her home and her space is within this episode. And she's showing like little things she does when she's hosting someone and how she wants to make them feel welcome. Here's like this bath salt thing I put together. Here's some flowers. Here's the way I make honey. And then her friend comes over and they make candles together and they make a cake together. And she kind of talks about how she would lay it out. Once we do get into what might be her real kitchen, I don't really know. We go into a second kitchen. She doesn't really acknowledge if it's her real one or not. But once we get there, you see a little bit of her personality that you're kind of thinking you'd get. Like she makes a reference to, I can't remember which movie, but it's, one of those sayings that we would all know. Like a saying from, I don't know, any movie that you would just know. Anyway, so she gets a little bit like, oh, cool. Like there's a real human being here. Then we go into the second episode with Mindy Kaling. She looks, I need you guys to look up her outfit. It's all white and she's got this little sweater over her.
I've seen it, yeah.
She looks like Granny going to play bridge with her friends.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this?
Because she's not that, her age, how old is she?
She's 30 or 42.
Yeah.
I want to say. But like, okay, if you're not a royal, because that's a big distinction, right? Is that this is her like past royal life. We're moving past that and kind of bringing on this new age of ourselves. Then why are we dressing like this? Because she does other casual segments in the show and she looks adorable. But I'm like, what? Like, there's no...
I mean, I cannot stress enough. Like, it's why their podcast sucked. And yes, I mean, the thing is, with Meghan with Love, I've only seen, I think, 2 long clips. And one was with Mindy Kaling when she brought up, like, my actual last name and then the Jack in the Box thing. But, like, what sucks about there's a lot of cool things about the Royals. Like if somebody did a doc on them, whatever. But when they put out content, it's the most guarded content in the world. It's like if I went on here and I said, hey, I can't talk about 90% of what we're going to talk about today in any of my life because of the consequences that happens after it. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I blame them, but then we're not going to have a lifestyle show around you because you can't give us anything.
Yeah, it's I'm going to watch a couple more episodes. I am, just because some of the things she said, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting take. Like, that would be fun to do. But some of it is just like Mindy Kaling comes over and she's like, I forgot that Mindy was coming over and that we were going to, and I don't have any food for her. I'm like, why are we pretending that you don't know Mindy Kaling's coming over and that you don't have food? So she whips up a frittata with like edible flowers and all this. And it's like,
Don't treat us like we're children. Don't treat us like it's not
going with this.
It's not Sesame Street. We're like, I wonder if, I didn't realize you're going to stop by. Like, what?
And it's such an interesting, it's like, I don't understand who wrote this out and who thought that it should be put like this, but it's very beautiful, like beautifully shot, very Magnolia Network style.
Mm-hmm.
I love that aspect of it. It is fun when, again, her personality starts to come out and it's almost like she checks it.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm telling you. We need Meghan back on
vanilla.
We need Meghan back on Suits where it's scripted. That's where I've been pushing for that for about a year now. Get her back on Suits.
Well, even when she was doing those interviews when she was still with Harry and they would be going on tours when they were still in the royal family. Remember when they did the tour of Africa and then someone actually asked her, "Are you okay?" Yeah. And she, like, her real personality came out. I'm like, you can still be you. I like, if you want to get back to California Americana lifestyle.
But it's almost like it's been every time she does showcase even a small, the press jumps all over it. Like, it'd be awesome if she was like, yeah, I don't like hanging out with Kate. She's boring. Like, that would be hilarious. She can't do that. Like, what if she told us, like, Kate has bad breath? I'd go, you know what I mean? Like, things you and I could talk about.
Right.
About our sister-in-laws, or like, yeah, they made a terrible cake. She can't do simple things like that. So we're never going to get a real person because she doesn't feel the luxury of being able to give us that. And I understand why, but I also go, then this isn't going to be a great show or a great podcast.
It's still number 6 on Netflix's top 10, which is what she's kind of celebrating.
Says them.
Last night it was number 6 as of last night, and she is celebrating it as of this morning as like, hey, this is really exciting because of course the UK has completely torn this apart.
Yeah.
As like the terrible, scathing reviews of this whole thing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
And I've only seen clips of it. I haven't actually sat down and watched an episode, but it just feels like these relationships and these friendships and these people she's bringing in, it just feels so sterile. It doesn't feel like an actual friend.
Yeah.
And we've heard this, like Mindy Kaling's kind of opened up about this whole situation. And she was like, look, we met after the podcast and we kind of, hit it off a little bit. And don't forget, Mindy Kaling has a brand new Netflix show that also debuted at the same time. There's a reason why she's a guest on this.
Yeah.
It's not because they're the best of friends. No. And it just felt like everything just felt very forced, awkward.
And it's funny, the first episode is better, I think, because it is an actual friend of hers.
Sure.
And he kind of brings out the funny parts of her.
Yeah.
Because he knows, and she'll be like, next time we should go he's like, oh, what is this beautiful view we're looking at? And she tells him, she's like, I couldn't tell you exactly how high it is, but like, we should go hiking next time. He goes, girl, I'm from New York. We don't hike. What is with y'all Cali people hiking? And she starts laughing, like actually laughing.
Yeah.
And she does this part where she talks about cooking bacon. She's like, my bacon brings all the boys to the yard. And like, you go, oh, you're a real person. Like, they gotta figure it out.
I don't think they will.
They need to if they want it to work.
And it does make you appreciate people that can do that job and bring character. And like, again, I don't think it's because she lacks the skill to do it. I just don't think she'll ever let herself do that because of the backlash that comes anytime she kind of puts down her guard.
Well, Jack in the Box, as mentioned, was brought up in the episode with Mindy Kaling. It was like, that was also the part that they were talking about, like when she goes, yeah, I used to always go and hang out with my mom. We would go to Taco Bell and Jack in the Box. Well, Jack in the Box is aware. They have decided to post off of it, and they've said, eat like royalty.
Love it.
Like, eat a Jack in the Box. And I'm like, way to go.
Jump on that.
Thank you, Jack in the Box, for doing what everybody in marketing should do when their name is mentioned by a super famous person, whether you like it or not.
There's some, what is it? Who's the one that I always like? Is it Arby's that attacks everybody on social
Arby's,
media?
I think.
There's some social
Wendy's,
media.
Maybe.
Wendy's.
Yeah.
They're clever.
Wendy's
is the
are brutal towards people. And
So
that,
funny.
I love that. I like an opportunist moment by a brand. And I also like one that's just trolling everybody. Also my thing.
So with Love Meghan, guys, if you want to check it out, let us know what you think in the comments. Let us know. Send us a message, bkshow@mytalk1071.com.
Do it.
Just curious.
Do it. I dare you.
Kristen Cavallari. We love talking about Kristen. She always says something ridiculous. So she
does.
She does. And I mean, I just actually, like, I don't know why I love her so much.
We both I think it's also, she is kind of the opposite of Meghan Markle, where she really, I mean, I know she has to keep some things hidden, but for the most part, she has lived out loud.
Right. Absolutely. Since she was like 17 years old with Laguna Beach.
Mm-hmm.
She just did this quick interview with Interview Magazine. They do, that's kind of like a rapid fire question thing. And like, here's a word. Tell me what you think of it. Right. And she said, what is kind of making the rounds right now is co-parenting, the ultimate test in life. Now, you'll remember she has alluded to, she was on, what's her name? Bunny. She is
Bunny
married
XO?
to thank you. I was like Jelly Roll's wife.
Yeah.
Bunny XO's podcast. And she was like pretty aggressive in how she termed her relationship with her ex, Jay Cutler, and was like, he's a liar. He's the worst. I can't be with him. I couldn't believe like we're never going to have holidays together. I mean, it was hardcore.
And again, to look at the stark contrast between that and Meghan Markle.
Right.
At least Kristen's interesting. Wrong sometimes.
Right.
But interesting.
Oh, for sure.
And she's not scared of the backlash because, like you said, early on, she was the villain, and I'm saying that in parentheses, on a kid, on her, on Laguna Beach, on the hills. So she's like, I don't care. I grew up like with tooth and like with shards of glass being thrown at me. Like, I don't
and
care.
like, look who has the most money now.
Yeah, totally.
It's funny you said villains because that was one of the words that they gave her. And she said, they're the most necessary part of any show. Without them, there wouldn't even be a show. They're the glue that holds it all together.
I read somewhere the other day, and I think, Kendall, you'll like this, is like, you should give somebody the gift of being their villain sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
I said this. I had a conversation a couple years ago with my sister. We had a misunderstanding. We were like fighting, but it was just a misunderstanding. And she came over so we could chat about it. And I looked at her, and I genuinely mean this. And I said, Ellie, I will never be the villain to you. I will always be the villain for you, though. If that means I need to be the monster to like do something that I know is right for you, 100%. I have no problem with that.
I know, like you sometimes, unfortunately, just by living your life, you will become somebody's villain.
Right.
And I say lean into it. I say we start wearing around them where the traitors hooded, robes start in front of them, like just telling them how like babies are awful. Like, just lean into it for some people. Give them the gift of villain.
Give them the gift. Okay, we also talked about the word slut specifically.
On Bunny XO's podcast with Kristen Cavallari.
No, this Interview Magazine. Magazine she did, and this was the word that they gave her, and they were like, what does this mean to you? And she said that word was thrown around so loosely in the early 2000s. Hell yeah, it was.
I know.
And she said, now I feel like what you can and can't say has definitely changed, which is probably a good thing. But if we're going to go down that road and talk specifically about that Cabo episode on Laguna Beach, if you remember, the guy that she was seeing and kind of not seeing that she supposedly stole LC from, Steven, called her a slut because she was dancing on the bar. She said, I'm actually really proud of myself for how I reacted. All I did was laugh and try to walk away, even though I could easily have popped off. And by the way, I don't regret dancing on that bar.
I love that.
Like, queen. That word was so heavy.
Early 2000s, the easiest thing in the world to discredit, especially any female, call them a slut.
Yeah, for no reason.
And even if there was a reason, what is a reason? What, having sex? Because guess what? Boys are doing it too. So she had sex. Okay.
Right.
So she danced with somebody. Okay.
So insane. Like, you could wear a shirt that some guy who liked you that you turned down the week before, they thought was hot on you. And if you were like, no, she's a slut.
I'm going to have a hot take. I think that the most interesting people were called the sluts in their life. They have the best stories. Like, they were doing things. They're interesting to me. I find them to be enthralling.
I'm glad you like me.
Same.
Because this is great.
Like, what do you mean? What is a slut? And what it's just so stupid.
It's literally the easiest word a boy could use to make you feel small.
So like, I had sex with you, but I'm the slut?
Or I told you I didn't want to go on a date with you.
Yeah.
So I'm a slut?
I'm a slut?
What?
Like, I don't even care, because I'm even like using real examples of people going, that's slutty behavior. Okay, AKA that could be adventurous behavior, or AKA, sorry, doll, I made out with 4 people one night. Sorry, my bad.
I think a real example, though, is also like, I know I got called a slut just for like not liking someone.
Yeah.
I mean, like, is that just the word we're going to use to define anyone that you don't want to be around right
Yeah.
now. Like, I don't understand. So weird. So we talked about Justin Bobby the other day because we were talking about Justin Bieber and his condom hats and how Justin Bobby was so good about wearing like those hot hats.
Yeah.
And she said, combat boots on the beach was the phrase that Interview Magazine gave Kristen Cavallari. And she goes, it's a big fat no. But like, Justin Bobby could do it.
Totally.
Like, it was just funny. It's a funny, cute little thing. If you're at all interested in her or like hate her, check it out.
Justin Timberlake now is at a place of I'm going to save my career by doing what? Kendall?
A movie.
Mike?
Calling up the rest of NSYNC for a reunion.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ooh.
There are many
Insiders
that are saying that he is so desperate to resurrect his career that now he's gotten to a place of, I think I'm ready for an NSYNC reunion. And to be honest, the world works in mysterious ways. I'm not an NSYNCer in general. Like, I'm not like a huge boy band person. I would say out of the two, Backstreet Boys or NSYNC. Me and Mike do align with NSYNC. I know, Kendall, you are
Backstreet's
Backstreet
back for
Boys.
life.
And we need all representation here. But I have friends that are diehards. Priscilla, diehard NSYNCer, and has always been heartbroken because I'm too big for my britches. Justin Timberlake would never make this reunion complete. Well, karma works in mysterious ways, but here we are. This man would make so many people happy if he just said, fine. And they are saying that he's ready because between the low sales, having to canceling shows, and just his overall, he's trying to get away from the DWIRS and all the things that have gone down. He said, I just need more headlines. It's now a numbers game. And if it has to be me touring with my NSYNC crew, that's where we're at.
Like, he's actually going to do it?
I think there's like a 85% chance that he's going to do it after a failed, I shouldn't say failed, but a wishy-washy.
Non-successful.
I don't know, because I mean, he probably made some money. Because I saw some videos where it was like half full, which that's not nothing.
Right.
But I think just like, even just perception, even, public opinion, all of that, his stock needs to rise. So for him to say, yes, boys, mount up. We're going to take this and we are going to go buy, get some cash. And again, he needs like some funny videos out there of him and his friends. He really needs like a remember who I am kind of thing, not a look at my bloodshot eyes as my bulge is coming out of my pants as I'm harnessed and being like slid around on a some sort of rotating deck thing. Do you remember like that? Because that's where his world tour right now.
Oh, yeah.
Is what's
he needs to
going
get
on.
back into like the puppeteer stage.
Absolutely.
What I need, and again, we've waited so long for this NSYNC tour, but the way the last 2 years have gone, what I need is for JC, Joey, Lance, and Chris to be like, no, we're good.
I know.
They're never going to do that.
So petty.
But it would be so great if they were just like, oh, now you need us. 20 years later, now you need us. Okay, we maybe don't need you.
Unfortunately,
But they do, and they will.
Unfortunately, they do, and they will. But Lance is doing pretty well. He does stuff.
Well, I'm not saying they're all, and they've done different tours with members of Backstreet Boys and members of other boy bands and stuff. I'm not saying they're not doing well for themselves, but none of them are doing as well as they would do if they all came together for one big tour or one big show. We see the Backstreet Boys are doing the Sphere right now, and ticket sales for that are going really, really well. So they would have a ton of success if they came back to this.
Is it just me, or do we just really not need any reunion tours from bands that were really big 20 years ago?
But you don't mean that for Spice Girls.
Oh, other than the Spice Girls.
Yeah. I don't know, because I know that I know a lot of people that be super happy about this.
Okay.
So there's a market.
I don't need to pee on that rainbow.
No, and there's a market for it. Plus, it must be hard. So NSYNC, I would say, not arguably, I think that numbers wise, always, I want to say this, but I'm not confident, has historically done better than Backstreet Boys. Am I wrong?
I think so.
They're about a horse apiece. I think Millennium was the biggest between all of them, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But I know neither one of them had a number one hit.
Which is so crazy.
I think only one maybe had. I don't remember exactly which one it was. But yeah, they both crushed at that same time.
And so it must be kind of hard for Justin Timberlake to be seen the Backstreet Boys getting an easy grab at the Sphere, doing well, selling out. I think they're selling out. I don't really know. I may have
tickets were actually shockingly cheaper than I thought. I actually almost bought some
because I wanted to see the Sphere. Yeah,
I was thinking this was going to be like the same thing we saw with even the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles sold that thing out. You were buying $600, $700 tickets after market. U2 was insane because it was the first group. If you were acted quick enough, you could have gotten tickets for like $180.
Dang.
So it was a little shocking, actually, the price point, and it might have just be, that audience, that market, who they're going after. But I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'd love if listeners wrote in. Is this something you want, or is this something you don't want? Like, because I feel like the people I know who love NSYNC are already getting their credit cards ready. But maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe they're like, no, I'm just not that interested. Because there are also people that are going to, Priscilla also goes to shows like Beyonce. Like, she went to Beyonce this year or last year.
This is shocking. Not only is Backstreet Boys bigger, they're almost double as far as records sold.
That's right.
Yeah, that's
Backstreet Boys have sold more than 130 million records worldwide, where NSYNC is more like 70.
Wow. So isn't it funny how perception for what you find appealing to be? Because maybe it was because right when I'm trying to think of when No Strings Attached came out. Like, to me, that is the biggest of them all.
But I just picked the winning horse.
You did.
I did.
And I think we're tying a lot to the individual success of Justin Timberlake to NSYNC that never really existed.
Yeah. It's kind of like blurred lines. Yeah. Like, it's like the Beyonce Destiny's Child thing. Like, was Destiny's Child as big as it is in my mind? I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe that's where I'm at with the reunion and why I would be like, let's just leave this where it was. I was also younger than some of the people I think that want a reunion really bad, because I was like really into them in elementary school.
Yeah.
Early middle school. Like, I don't need that in my life again. But if I would have been in high school, college age, I'd probably want to get down to this.
During the pandemic, my neighbors, Brian bought Priscilla, they're a couple. Brian bought Priscilla a cameo from Lance Bass, and they have a daughter named McKenna. And he was naming it. Yeah, this is from Brian, Josie, and Makina. So to this day, we call it, because of Lance Bass, Makina.
It's fine.
Lance, get your life together. It was a great cameo.
Probably worth it. Probably worth all $40.
I'm sure. Well, at the time too, remember during the pandemic, it was like, how can we celebrate? Especially it was her 40th. How do we celebrate somebody's 40th birthday?
No.
Thank God for Cameo. Yeah. So, this is kind of sweet. Ozzy Osbourne's wife, Sharon, is getting the cred that she so obviously deserves. There's a lot of things you can say about Sharon Osbourne. Not only she's polarizing is the understatement of the century. But Ozzy Osbourne wants to make sure that we know that she got him through the last 6 years of absolute hell amid his Parkinson's battle. They were talking to him, In Touch was, and they were saying how, honestly, there's so many times you hear Ozzy talk about her this way, and I think this is just another sweet way. I don't know I think he'd be dead without Sharon. And I mean, especially if you watched the Osbournes.
You couldn't. He maybe would be dead because he couldn't order takeout.
I know.
You can't understand this man.
No, I know. Wandering around. Where's my beer? It was so But there's just things where you go. You can say a lot about this woman because she does have often these weird, crazy missteps and says awful things. But she takes care of that man, and Ozzy is he's he's an American treasure. So
He's a treasure.
He is. Oh,
okay.
God. And he is. I mean, Ozzy Osbourne. And I don't even like his music. I just, it kind of drives me nuts.
An American treasure.
That's
what a UK treasure.
That was he's a treasure.
I was a UK treasure. I just find him to be so, he's Papa. And he's coming home.
You know when you made that joke about Nana walking into the studio?
Oh, he gives for sure Papa vibes. Hey, lost Papa.
Papa, put your pants on. That's the mailman. You don't know him, and he needs you to wear your pants.
Hey, Ozzy, will you slip on your pleather pants before you step into the... Oh, for sure.
That's why, sir.
But I love him. I don't know.
He is what he is. He's a creature.
I love him. He's endearing. Remember when he had that opinion of Britney Spears? How random was that?
And then he apologized.
This last year. I love him.